Researching for housing before actually looking for a house in Russia is extremely important. So if you're a student coming to study in Russia and your university doesn't provide, you with accommodation or a dormitory, so these are some things you have to be thinking about. And I listed a few things you could avoid to prevent you from, losing your money, and a few recommendations you can actually, follow when searching for a place to stay as you study in Russia. Let's get into it. So a key reason to research on your accommodation and housing in Russia is to avoid being scammed. I can't stress this fact enough. I have heard of people who, encountered someone who they sent their money and the person stopped responding. It's also here. It's also here. So just be very careful. You might pay an upfront deposit to a fake landlord if you're not careful. And you might sign a lease for an apartment that doesn't exist. Tip: always verify ownership through documents. They should provide you with documents. So rent through trusted platforms or companies. Don't just go hater skater and start searching on your own. So look for trusted companies. The second thing I want you to do is understand the area you're in. Not all neighborhoods are equal. The research helps you learn about safety levels, proximity to your school, your work, the metro. Some people prefer being closer to the metro. Like local supermarkets, local pharmacies are there around, but in most places like Moscow, there are shops around each residential block. And also noise level, if you are very sensitive to noise, are you near a construction site? Just taking note of all these little factors could influence which area you choose to stay in for the long term. So speaking of Moscow, living near a metro station here is very convenient, but it can sometimes be noisy and more expensive than living further away. The number 3 reason you have to do your research is for price comparison. You might find a cheaper option if you dig deeper. Cheaper but nicer option. If you're a foreigner, for example, if you do your research, you avoid being overcharged. So if people call out a ridiculous amount of money, you just call them out on it. But I did my research. The last time you rented out this apartment, it was this much. Why are you renting out at this much now? You won't easily be the target and be exploited. Also, understanding the market price for furnished apartments and unfurnished apartments. So if you do your research, you have a better understanding whether you want to go for a furnished apartment or an unfurnished apartment. Researching will also help you identify hidden fees like utilities, water bills, light bills, maintenance, and what have you. And number 4, doing your research will help you understand lease conditions. So without really doing your research, you might agree to unfavorable conditions. So some unfavorable conditions could be short notice eviction, no guest policy, and a huge deposits. Because for some apartments, they do tell you what time you can have guests and what time the guests should leave the apartment. So you have to be really careful about these little hitches here and there. So also be careful about contracts not written in clear Russian language or them not having an English translation. So if you can ask them for an English translation so that you could better understand the document you're signing and not just signing for the sake of signing because you need the apartment. No, you have to do research. Or if you could hire a lawyer that could go through the contract for you, that's a bonus. At number 5, we have furniture and utilities. So not all Russian apartments come furnished or fully equipped. So some have no washing machine, no microwave, no oven, no kettle. So you have to take note of this. And sometimes utilities such as gas, electricity, water may not be included in the rent. So you'll be paying rent plus for utilities. So you have to take note of all these differences. So for some apartments, the rent encompasses the light bill, the water bill. If you do your research, it helps you know what to look forward to, whether you'll be paying the rent plus the utilities or the rent encompasses the utilities, and just helps you budget well towards, the apartment. At number 6, we have visa registration requirements. As a foreigner, your landlord has to register you with the immigration authorities. So if you rent to someone who refuses to do so or doesn't know how to do so, you could be in some legal trouble. Your visa could be invalidated. So you have to take keen interest in these particular areas. Ask yourself, why is the landlord refusing to do my registration for me? Is this house even his? These are the questions you should be really asking. So take that very seriously. So just confirm that the landlord accepts to register you at that very address you're staying at. Number 7, long-term convenience. So you have to keep in mind that you'll be staying in this apartment for a long time, months, years until you graduate. So researching helps you, find a place that fits your budget, your lifestyle, and your commute needs. How far is my apartment from my university, and how far is my apartment from church? For me, I move around church and class, and my hostel in particular is closer to church than to class, and I have to commute an hour every day to my university, and I'm still looking on ways I could change hostels. If I could get the hostel at the university, that would be great, and I'll be doing that this summer. In summary, research helps you avoid scammers, bad contracts, poor locations, and legal issues. So do your research. Do your research. So those were a few points on why I think researching before buying an apartment in Russia is very important. If you have any other questions or need more information on any particular area about studying in Russia, please do drop those requests in the comment section. See you in my next video.